Welcome to Let's Talk PH, where we explore pivotal Supreme Court decisions shaping Philippine jurisprudence. I am DJ.
I am Honey.
I am RJ.
And I am Jez.
And your attorney, Jazz.
So what are we going to talk about right now?
Today we're going to delve about the case between financial confidentiality and the victim's right to justice. Salvacion versus Central Bank of the Philippines.
So what do you know about this case, Jazzy?
Well, upon my reading,
Wow.
yes, upon my reading,
Ayos, nagbabasa!
well, the case tackles about Salvacion versus Bartali, where Salvacion is a 12-year-old girl which was raped multiple times. I think it was 4 times during that time. Yeah, then the case tackles around his arrest. The authorities discovered that they held an account with China Banking Corporation, which, the conflict started. Salvacion and her family secured a civil judgment awarding damages and sought for garnish Bartali's dollar account to satisfy this judgment. So there is an issue if this garnishment would be given to the Salvacion, which in fact our law does not indicate whether we allow the dollar things, here in this case to be garnished to the the respondents, the plaintiff. So now the bank refused, and this is the issue. The bank refuses to give or to award the dollar account of Bartili to Salvacion. It's because citing the section 113 of the Central Bank Circulation number 1960, which exempt foreign currency deposits from garnishment. So now I think that's the overview of the case. It's all about the garnishment of the Bartali's account towards to Salvacion.
Let me confirm. Is this Bartali is American citizen or he's just residing in the Philippines?
Well, Bartali is a American tourist. So see, he came here in the Philippines just for just a tourist, a vacation, and then it just so happened that he met Salvacion and then he raped her multiple times, and it's a sad thing to do.
So what's the issue about this case? The issue will be, can a foreign currency deposit be garnished to satisfy a civil judgment despite statutory
Protections.
confidentiality protections?
Before we delve into the Supreme Court's ruling, do you have any idea what is garnishment?
Well, garnishment is a legal process used in enforcing a civil judgment. Usually, this is seizing a debtor's money or property towards the third party, and usually the third party is the bank or the employer in such cases. It is usually to justify or to satisfy the judgment of the court.
Understood.
And what do you think is the ruling?
This case contains a lot of nuance, considering that the money involved is considered foreign. So if there's a liberal construction or interpretation of the statute, the foreign check shouldn't be given to the Salvacion family. However, that's my opinion. Let's figure out what's the Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I think that's the protection of the bank. The bank contended they don't want to release the check. It's because under section 113 of the Central Bank Circulation number 1960, it is exempt the foreign currency from depositing as garnishment.
So in this case, the Supreme Court held in favor of the Salvacion family.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
correct.
held that while the foreign currency deposit provides confidentiality to foreign deposits, the protection is not absolute. In this case, where the deposit is the only available asset to satisfy the judgment for a heinous crime, the exemption cannot be used to shield the wrongdoer from liability.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just right. Just because you're a foreigner or an alien from this
Yeah.
country, you shouldn't be protected by the acts or the violent commissions you have.
So just go back to the basic of the law, which
Yeah.
as a protection for everyone. If this law protects the wrongdoer, it's very unjustified naman towards the other party.
Yeah. So also the court emphasized that the need to balance the state's interest in encouraging foreign currency deposits with the fundamental rights of crime victims to obtain redress. Allowing absolute confidentiality would effectively deny justice to victims when the perpetrator's assets are solely in foreign currency deposits.
Exactly.
Yeah, so in this case, they established that the confidentiality of foreign currency deposit is not absolute and can be
Exactly.
used in exceptional circumstances.
Yeah.
So particularly when upholding it could result in injustice.
Yeah.
Well, one of the takeaways in this case is usually the victim's rights. As we all know, Salvacion is just a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah, she's a
And then she's
minor.
raped 4 times, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the injustice that she suffered from the hands of the
Yeah.
foreigner. And then just because of the one section of a specific law, diba, the garnishment will not be awarded to her just because of that. That's very injustice on her part.
Yeah.
So that's why the decision underscores the judiciary role in ensuring the protection of the victims, especially in such cases, and to becoming a tool of injustice. That's why the court awarded the garnishment regardless of its currency, its monetary currency being a dollar. So that's why the court sided with the Salvacion family in terms of the garnishment. Para maiwasan lang naman yung pagiging tool of this section to become a scapegoat of the criminals, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those rare cases when the law is silent or ambiguous, when the statute would result to injustice,
Yeah, exactly.
conscience would now prevail. Now, without the liberal interpretation of the law, Salvacion couldn't be able to receive damages. However, through conscience, she was able to do so.
Yes.
Now, right after that case, there were policy implications whereby financial confidentiality laws must be interpreted in a manner that does not obstruct enforcement of lawful judgments especially in cases involving heinous crimes.
Judicial discretion is a good thing here because courts have the discretion to override statutory protections when they conflict with fundamental rights and justice.
Just imagine if the court does not side with the Salvacion family. It would very it would really result to injustice to the Salvacion. Imagine you've been raped and then no award will be given to you.
Just imagine
Just for a compensation of that, you know, something bad happened to you.
Yeah, just imagine if the opposing party has a really good lawyer. They can bend this law, take advantage of this loopholes, and like they can escape this criminal acts and just
That's why, as you said kanina, that judicial discretion is very important, and how the our judicial system interprets the law. It's very important. In this case, the Supreme Court sided with Salvacion because it is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It is the main fundamental values of our laws to protect those people who cannot protect themselves. Like in this case, Salvacion needed that justice, diba?
Yeah.
Diba, imagine if you're the rape victim, you're the family of Salvacion, diba? How the injustice, the feeling, the trauma, and then at the end of the day, just because of that confidentiality thing of garnishment, because it's dollar, it will not be given to you.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
I think this case is really a good reference for future cases involved
Yes.
for youth.
Yes, just because a specific law is implemented doesn't mean it would, impact or it would overlap our fundamentals in creating the law or the purpose of the laws, which is to protect everyone, especially those suffering from injustices.
Yes, and may I add that laws should be interpreted in a manner that it shouldn't obstruct justice.
Yeah.
Especially in those heinous crimes.
Yeah.
You got it?
I think this is a
This proves that our court is but an avenue of equity. It facilitates the administration of fairness and justice towards its people. Now, there's a pronouncement in this case that I want to share to everyone. It states that when the statute is silent or ambiguous, this is one of those fundamental solutions that would respond to the vehement urge of conscience. Now, in this case, we've realized or we've appreciated the use of conscience in this
Alright, that's all for today's episode. Salvacion versus Central
Central
Bank
Bank of the Philippines.
This case serves as a poignant reminder that judiciary's duty to ensure that the law serves its justice, not just its procedure.
Wow.
So stay tuned for the next episode where we explore another significant case shaping Philippine law. Until then, this is Jazzer,
DJ?
Honey?
and RJ.
And your attorney, Jazzy.
reminding you that in the pursuit of justice, the law must be both firm and fair.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.